This video illustrates how the BigPicture add-in can be used to create an organization chart from data on a company's employees. Actually, I will illustrate two examples. The first is a simple example that includes basic information about employees, as well as the structure of the organization, who reports to whom. The second example is slightly more complex. It includes all of the information in the first example, but it also illustrates how BigPicture can perform calculations, such as the head count and the total salary of all employees who report to any supervisor. This second example also illustrates how extra information about employees can be included in the chart by using markers. Both of the examples are based on example spreadsheets included with BigPicture. You can find these example spreadsheets under BigPicture's Help dropdown. Here is the data set for the first example. Each of the 65 employees in the fictional New Era software company is listed in column A. Their titles are listed in column B. The titles of the managers they report to are listed in column C, and other information is listed in columns D and E. Note that Jeffrey Wiggins is the CEO and president. He doesn't report to anyone. On the other hand, James Larson, the Director of Software Development, reports to the CEO and President. And from a lookup in column B, you can see that this person is Jeffrey Wiggins. Or as another example, Cynthia Waters, an accounting assistant, reports to the Director of Finance, who from column B is Michael Hall, down in row 44. To create an org chart in BigPicture, your dataset has to be structured this way, with two linked columns like columns B and C in this example. In addition to this tabular information, there is a corresponding picture file for each employee named by the employee's name. For your own applications, you would typically store these picture files in the same folder as the spreadsheet file, or possibly in a subfolder. Now I will create an org chart by clicking the Org Chart button on the BigPicture ribbon. This opens the tab dialog box you see here. It has already been filled in, but I will explain the various options. The Definition tab lets you select the data range, including the labels in the top row. Then you specify the hierarchy for the organization, who reports to whom. In this case, you link the employee's title to the manager's title because of the linking discussed earlier. Finally, you can choose the columns to display. In this case, the employee's name, title, and location. The Pictures tab allows you to add pictures from a specified folder, where the names of the picture files match one of the columns, in this case, the employee column. The Display tab provides several basic options for the org chart itself. The settings here indicate that the different levels of the organization will be colored differently. The chart will be placed on a new worksheet in the same workbook as the data. The orientation will be from the top down. And I will change this. The bottom level employees will be shown horizontally, not stacked vertically. You can experiment with any of these settings. The other three tabs aren't used in this simple example, but they will be illustrated shortly. Now I will create the chart. By expanding any of the employees, you can see the company structure. Note that BigPicture's Auto Arrange and Single Expand buttons are both on. This is not absolutely necessary, but it is a good idea for org charts. In particular, Single Expand means that if you expand below one of the supervisors, the others at that level will collapse. Now I will show a second example to illustrate some powerful features available with BigPicture org charts. The dataset you see here lists the same information on the same employees as before in columns A to E, but it contains 3 extra columns: salary, performance rating on a 1 to 10 scale, and a brief annual review summary. All of this new information will be captured in the org chart. Again, I will open the org chart tab dialog box. The definition, pictures, and display tabs are filled in exactly as before. The markers tab lets you add additional information using various marker icons below each employee. In this case, the employee's performance rating will be shown in a number icon, and the employee's annual review summary will be shown in a note. The Calculations tab lets you perform calculations on the fly as the chart is created. In this case, 2 calculations will be made for each employee. The first uses the keyword headcount to count all employees who report directly or indirectly to this employee. The second calculates the total salary of all such employees. Note that for calc depth, you could change either of these to direct reports. Also, you have several options under Calc Type and Display In. The Filter tab lets you filter the employees who will be shown in the chart. For example, I could filter out all employees except those whose location is New York. However, I won't use a filter for this chart. Now I will create the chart. This takes a bit longer because of the required calculations. The completed chart is very similar to the earlier chart. However, note the buttons below the employees. The 2 right buttons are the markers. The first shows the performance review summary in a text box, that is a note, and the second shows the performance rating in a number icon. The leftmost button, the one with the summation sign, shows the calculations. For example, there are 11 employees who report directly or indirectly to Loretta Smith, and their total salary is about $1.14 million. This doesn't include Loretta's own salary of about $140,000. Note that there are calculation buttons for the lowest level employees, but each shows only that employee's salary. As this video has illustrated, it is easy to build org charts with BigPicture. The key is creating the employee to supervisor structure in the dataset itself, so that BigPicture can determine who reports to whom. Once you understand how the required links work, you can build information-packed org charts for your organization quickly and easily.